Nod-Krai's story might have been spoiled long before its actual release, and most players didn't even notice. Have you ever realized that Genshin Impact's summer event quests consistently foreshadow the Archon Quest of the next region? If that pattern holds true, then the clues for Nod-Krai have already been placed right in front of us. Let's look back. In version 2.8, we had the second Golden Apple Archipelago event, which heavily focused on the inner worlds, pasts, and ambitions of its featured characters: Fischl, Kazuha, Mona, and Xinyan. Fischl's arc in particular revolved around dreams, identity, and self-acceptance, themes that later became central to Sumeru's Archon Quest. On top of that, Kazuha's story gave us early insight into Scaramouche's backstory, who would go on to become one of the most important figures in Chapter 3. Then came version 3.8 and Bottleland, a fairy tale world ruled by an Oceanid named Edea. Despite being its leader, Edea constantly tried to run away from her responsibilities, mirroring how players initially perceived Farina. Both stories ultimately led to the same conclusion: accepting one's role and duty. Even thematically, Bottleland leaned heavily into theater, spectacle, and performance, which perfectly aligned with Fontaine's operatic identity. In version 4.8, we entered Simulanka, a world created by the Hexenzirkel. There we learned how names shape fate in Teyvat, how simply sharing a name like Durin was enough to bind two entirely different dragons to eerily similar destinies. This concept resurfaced later in Natlan through the idea of ancient names. Simulanka was also, at its core, a story about a hero, paralleling Natlan's heroes, who inherit those ancient names and the burdens that come with them. And now we arrive at version 5.8 and the Easy Breeze Holiday Resort. This event took us to Mare Jivari, a place suffering from a temporal disruption phenomenon. After the Battle of Mare Jivari, Barbatos severed it from the timeline entirely to prevent abyssal corruption from spreading. The entire quest revolved around time anomalies, erased histories, and temporal interference. So here's the question: if every summer event foreshadows the next nation, does this mean Nod-Krai's story will revolve around time travel? We're already seeing hints, through the moons, through time-related phenomena, and through Columbina herself. What if Columbina traveled to the past through the Moon Gate? What if she became the very cause of her own existence? That's exactly what this video is about. Click through to explore this theory in detail, and comment below what you think Nod-Krai is really hiding.